Hi BookTube, it's Gina, and I'm here today to do a tag which was created by Hungry Bookworm, and this is the Confessions of a Kindle Hoarder tag. She created this tag. I just saw her do it, and I love this tag so much that I had to jump in and do it myself. You all know I love my Kindle. I read a lot of books on my e-reader, and so this tag is right up my alley. So let's get started. Prompt number 1, be brave. How many books, samples, articles, etc. do you currently have on your Kindle? And I looked it up. I don't ever really pay that much attention to this, but I looked it up and I have 686 books on my Kindle. What I also realized though is that my library, I use a lot of library ebooks. I love getting ebooks at my library. My library has a wonderful selection, very easy. Over the pandemic, it has just saved me being able to get library books on my Kindle. And about 300 of that 686 are actually library books that have expired. I can't actually read them, but they still show up in my library. So I just need to do some cleanup and go and delete all of those placeholders that I can no longer read, I can't do anything with, but they just don't automatically get deleted, which is a little bit annoying. So I would have about 380 actual books on my Kindle. Prompt number 2, samples, yay or nay? Do you use the sample service? And if so, how many samples do you have? I'm not exactly sure what a sample service is, so I do sometimes get samples just through Amazon, so you can send a sample, and I have 24 samples on my Kindle, which I also just need to delete because they're not useful. If I wanted the book, I would have already either checked it out at the library or purchased it. So again, I just need to do some cleanup of my Kindle library. Prompt number 3, do you even remember what is the oldest book you have on it, i.e. the one that has been languishing on there the longest? Unread. So the fun thing about the Kindle library is I can actually sort it from oldest to newest, and I can see exactly what my first Kindle books were. So I must have gotten my Kindle for Christmas on December 25th, 2010, because that is the first day. I've got 3 books that I bought on that day. The first one is The Good Thief's Guide to Las Vegas, which is a fun mystery set in Las Vegas about a thief who solves mysteries. It's a fun series. I actually really like that. I haven't read it in a long time though. So that one I read. The 2 that I also bought on that day that have been languishing are 2 that I must have gotten for free. One is The Works of Horace, which I haven't read, and honestly, unless something really inspires me, I don't imagine getting to that one. And 2 is War and Peace, which I would like to read, but I'm not sure which translation that is. I'm sure that was also a free one, and sometimes the e-versions of these books are fairly poor quality. So when I do read that book, I'm not sure if that's the edition I'll actually read. I'll have to see how it is and decide if I want to purchase something different or use that actual one. Prompt number 4, bright and shiny. What is your most recent book? And the most recent book I bought is China Court by Rumer Godin. And I bought this ebook to read along with Miranda Mills, who's doing a comfort read book club on her channel. And I love her channel, and I'm reading China Court right now and really enjoying it. So that's the most recent that I purchased. Now I do also have a library book that I just checked out, which is the Vanderbeekers Lost and Found, which is a kid series called the Vanderbeekers. And if you haven't read it, it's wonderful. I love the Vanderbeekers. They are a family, working class parents. They live in Harlem. The kids just are wonderful. They run around, they help their family, they fight, they get along. It's just a wonderful family story. I love the Vanderbeekers. If you like kid lit, definitely check that story out. And I've got that one on my library also. So I'll be reading that one this week, hopefully. Prompt number 5, fess up. How quickly do you get around to reading them after downloading? And who knows? It's random. I download a lot of free books if I see something that looks interesting, or if I see a 99-center or something that's on sale. I will download a lot of books that I don't really plan to read right now, similar to my paper library. I love to buy books that I'm going to keep in my library. I know I always have a stash of something good to read, and that, to me, is the joy of being able to have a personal library, always knowing that I've got something that I haven't read that I can pull up at any time, and I will never run out of things to read. So I absolutely love that. Some I read faster, some I buy with the purpose, like China Court. I knew I bought that when I wanted to read it right away. I also bought a couple Star Trek books on my Kindle that I have read for Star Trek Book Trek 2021. So it really just varies when I buy them. Prompt number 6, keepers. Do you keep a book on your Kindle after reading it? And if you really enjoyed it, are you in a mind of buying a physical copy of it? And yep, so I always keep my Kindle books. I don't see any reason not to. I guess I could delete stuff that I know I'm never going to read again, but it's so easy to find things and keep them. I've got plenty of space on my Kindle, so I've not ever felt the need to delete things. Now, I do love to buy a paper copy of a book that I have read on my Kindle. What I'm looking for right now that I've been reading on my Kindle is the Matthew Shardlake mystery series set in Tudor England. Matthew Shardlake is a lawyer set in the era of King Henry VIII. And it's a wonderful, wonderful, kind of gritty mystery series. And I've been reading that on my Kindle, but I love it so much that I would definitely like to find a paper copy to add to my shelves, because that's one I think I would probably come back to. And I've been checking a lot of those out at the library, and I've purchased a couple on my Kindle, but I'm keeping my eyes open for that in a paper version. Okay, prompt number 7, subs. Do you use a subscription service, i.e. Kindle Unlimited, and do you hoard them? And no, I do not. I use my library, and I buy a lot of Kindle books. One thing that I do want to mention, though, because I know a lot of people think that Kindle books are a detriment to paper books, and I don't see that at all. For me, I buy a lot of used books. I buy a lot of new books. I buy a lot of full price books. I buy a lot of discounted books. Basically, I buy a lot of books. Same thing on my Kindle. I buy books. I get books from the library. So I've always got a bunch of books going, but I do not find the need to do a Kindle Unlimited type of service, because almost everything on there that I want, I can get off my library for free. So I just haven't felt the need to do that. I've got so much to read already that I don't think I need to pay for a monthly service. So that is not something that I use. Prompt number 8, go forth and multiply. Other places you read your Kindle or ebooks. And I don't read my Kindle books anywhere but my Kindle. I've got a Paperwhite. It's got a backlight. I could read it anywhere. I love to read in bed. I love to read out on my deck, sitting outside. I almost never read on my phone. I guess I could in an emergency, but I never read on my phone. I don't have a tablet right now. I had a MacBook, a mini iPad, and it was from 2011, and it died on me, so I don't have a tablet anymore. But I love my Paperwhite so much, I don't feel the need to ever use any other device for reading on. I might get an Oasis. I've been been tossing that idea around because the one thing I don't like about my Paperwhite, I know this is totally like a first world problem, is I don't like having to move my finger to turn the pages. I want to just press, I want to hold it. I just want to press the button to turn the pages. I'm so lazy. Good Lord. Prompt number 9, close your eyes and scroll through your library and pick a book. Tell us what it is, and more importantly, have you read it or are you going to? I don't have my, actually, I didn't grab my Kindle, so I'm going to skip this one because I don't have my Kindle handy. Prompt number 10, AOB, talk about your habits. I can't remember what Julie was talking about with this one. I just watched her video. Probably just how you read your Kindle. I've already mentioned I like to read in bed. I like to sit out on my deck. I generally, I have, my routine is kind of funny. So if I'm outside or if I'm in bed, I generally read my Kindle. But if I'm sitting at a chair in my living room on a weekend, that is when I will read a paper book. So I kind of usually have a few things going on at once, and it's almost location based. But my Kindle is usually my default reader just because it's so easy and I love the reading experience. It's so comfortable to hold and it's easy to throw in a bag if I ever happen to go out and read in public again, which I haven't done for a while, except when I was on vacation. I did read at the pool. So I do love reading on my Kindle. I love the experience. I love the physicalness of it, and I think I read a little bit faster when I'm on my Kindle. It seems like I can scroll through pretty quickly, but I still love my paper books. You guys know I love my paper books. And prompt number 11, don't be shy. Do you have any suspicious books on your Kindle that you don't want people to see you reading? And I don't. I'm not embarrassed for anybody to see anything I'm reading, but I also don't really read erotica or anything that would be considered like risque for the most part. So that's not really anything that's ever come up for me. And that is the last prompt. I love doing this tag. It's so much fun to talk about my Kindle. I love my Kindle. I love everything about it. And so I was super excited to do this tag. If you have a Kindle and you love it as much as I do, please feel free to do this tag. Bye.